My wife cheated on me. Is it possible to repair? Story 1. Like I said in the title, Reddit tends to be a place where people speak truth to power, and from browsing threads, the general consensus is that it'll never work, and that I should leave her. However, in looking for anyone who has been cheated on by their spouse and has been able to work through it, I expect to hear plenty of once a cheater, always, and advice to lawyer up and ditch her now. I would really like to anything positive right now. Stories that tell me that I'm not being a fool and cad by staying with her. We started dating 4 years ago and got married last summer. She started a new job that she loves this year and met a lot of people at her job that are her age and on her wavelength. About a month ago, she left her phone at home and she got a weird message from a coworker that popped up on the screen. I opened her phone. We don't keep passwords from each other, and read these long, sappy text messages from him and responses from her saying that she doesn't want to go see him because she doesn't feel like she can trust herself. My heart drops. I feel sick and immediately start asking her about this on instant messaging. She races home from work and sobs about making a mistake and that nothing happened and that nothing would ever happen. That she got carried away from the attention and didn't know how to stop it, but that it's definitely over and that she wants to do everything to make the relationship work. I accept this, and we find a counselor for her to go see and arrange for us to go to couples therapy. Due to insurance, we can only find a couple of counselors and have to wait a few weeks before going. She went to her first session last Friday and we are supposed to have our first couples session on Thursday. I went out of town over the weekend and came home to her complaining about an upset stomach and that she feels really sick. I try and make her feel better and then she starts sobbing and breaks down and tells me that she made a mistake while I was gone. I pry out of her what happened and she tells me that she went in to work over the weekend and got a call from the guy who was messaging her. She answers it and he says he wants to talk and they meet. They talk. He kisses her. She kisses back. He fingers her and then says he has a seat dom. He puts it on, sticks it in her, and then she immediately stops, says she made a mistake, and gets up and leaves. I got these details from her later. I feel like an idiot because I saw something threatening to our relationship and couldn't manage to stop it. She tells me that she made a mistake and I blow up and start yelling and screaming and crying. I tell her to give me her ring and pack up her asset and go. But she freaks out and I relented to let her stay the night on the couch. She says that the episode made her so sick, but also has given her great clarity about our relationship and how much she doesn't want to lose me and what we have. I believe her that it was a one-time thing. I believe her that she is really sorry and that it won't happen again. I still achingly love her, but how can I continue in a relationship that I feel has been utterly violated? She didn't just make a mistake. She undermined the basis of our affection and trust in one another. She did something that not only affronts our relationship and history, but undermines my masculinity, virility and sense of self. She did the most selfish thing that someone can do in a relationship and now wants to work through it. She's made me feel mean and angry and hateful towards her. Emotions I never thought I could feel towards her. She seems to think that therapy will be a panacea for this. But I don't know if that will be enough. I've never been in therapy. It'll probably have to start now. She believes that if we stick together, we can make this work, and that she has heard of tons of people who have persevered through this. I remain skeptical. So, my question to anyone reading is if they have personal experience with making a marriage work after infidelity. I'm willing to make a stab at it, but will the feelings of betrayal and anger ever really leave? Is the relationship doomed from here on out? Is doing therapy and staying together just prolonging the inevitable? I realize that Reddit is maybe not the best place to ask this, but I'm figuring out how I can talk about this to someone I know. I feel humiliated and don't know how I can tell anyone, family or friends about this. If we do manage to make it through this, then she'll always be tainted in their eyes. TL, doctor, wife of a year cheated on me, swears it was a one-time mistake and wants to make it work. Does anyone have any experience with making a relationship marriage work post infidelity? Redditors reactions. Redditor 1, there will be a third time. Same guy 2. Ed demands she quit her job immediately. And I would not be live they didn't actually duck either. Trickle truth. In my experience, the anger never goes away. It's ruined. And it's only been a year you're still new lights. Cut your losses and move on. Redditor 2. A drunken mistake I could forgive. And I have. But this was dragging on. You caught it early and woke her up from her daydream before anything bad happened, and she took the first opportunity to go bang him anyway. Ultimately it's up to you to decide if you can make it work or not. But lying and doing the opposite of what you say you will is pretty much a death sentence to any possible reconciliation. Furthermore, if a cheater goes unpunished, there is a fair chance they will do it again. Story 2. My wife 32F has been having an affair and am broken. My wife 32F and I 30 meters got married in September 2018 after being together for 3 years. Right before our honeymoon, we bought a house together in VAP, and after we got back, pulled our remaining money and time to completely redo her old starter home in MD and sold that in early 2019. We both work full-time jobs in Virginia. I make pretty good money. She makes even better money. My wife, let's call her Katie, decided to pursue an MBA and started last fall. She had an educational trust that her parents started for her and therefore didn't ask me for any financial assistance. However, because I saw how time consuming the MBA was on top of her already large professional workload, I took it upon myself to take care of everything related to our still relatively new home, including dealing with contractors, managing all our bills, maintaining the house, taking care of our dog, purchasing, assembling furniture, yard work, cooking, cleaning, laundry, and hosting, entertaining her family that insisted on coming over at least 2 weekends every month. Lately, Katie had been unhappy with our relationship, complaining that I wasn't spending enough quality time with her and not making her feel wanted. I tried to argue several times that between her work and studies, and my work and home responsibilities, that there simply wasn't very much time to spend together in general. We would frequently not even get to eat dinner until 9:00 or 10:00 at night, and I would either need to bring her a meal to her home office, or we would quickly eat together, and she would return to schoolwork to study or percolate in group projects session. She would argue back that the things I was doing around the house were simply my responsibility as a husband, and that while she appreciated it, it didn't count towards me trying to maintain or build our relationship. We'd also been arguing a lot about other things, and combined with the lack of free time, would be intimate maybe once a month. But after one particularly emotional and drunken conversation about 3 or 4 weeks ago now, I vowed that despite what I already thought was prioritizing her needs, that I would go even further. I began to take off work. I, unlike her, still had to go in during COVID, or go in late, leave early, stopped seeing friends, skipped workouts, and would even wait until she was occupied with something else to even take a shower. Also, I could spend as much available time as possible with her between her obligations. As a result, things seemed to be slightly improving between us, and now we arrive at last Wednesday. As per usual, I was making dinner for us. We have a tablet in the kitchen that I primarily use for recipes. As I was finishing up, the tablet began pinging non-stop, and I checked out what was happening. As it turns out, the tablet is linked to her Google credentials, and I first saw an ongoing Hangouts conversation between Katie and a friend, discussing what to do about someone's wife who had come to our house that day while I was at work. Scrolling through the conversation history, I found more about Katie's lack of feelings for me, and the longing and dreaming to instead be with some guy who we'll call Luke. Physically shaking at this point, I decided to venture away from Hangouts and open her mail, where I found several emails going as far back as March between her and Luke, calling each other babe, sweetheart, and my love. Unsure about what to do next, I first took screenshots of everything I could find, then stepped outside to call the only person with law experience that I knew, an executive at my company who had become friends with. He advised that I immediately confront her, but first call someone to come over to the house to act as a witness in case things became physical, or if she might later try to claim they did. So I had a friend over in about 20 minutes. I confronted Katie, and she confessed to the relationship and admitted that they had been intimate several times over the past 4 months, both at hotels and in our home. Now completely distraught, I tried to maintain my composure and asked her to leave. She stayed at a hotel for 2 nights, then despite my protest, came home on Friday, stating this was her house too. She insisted on talking when she returned, and not having a witness this time. I decided to record the entire conversation on my phone. She tried to reiterate that she had been unhappy, but despite that, had been reaching out to her friends and mother about suggestions and resources she could use to help our relationship, even though I had suggested counseling in the past, but she refused. She tried to tell me that she made a mistake, that she had already broken it off with Luke a week ago, that I was the only person she wanted to spend her life with, and the only reason she hadn't told me about it was because her friends had advised her not to. She also said that if we truly love each other, that divorce was a mistake, and that we should be able to get through anything. I replied that love is worthless without trust, and then said that if she insists on staying here, to please stay in the guest room. Obviously free usage of her home office and the guest bathroom, but to please stay out of our bedroom bathroom unless telling me first. So now I'm here, sitting in my house alone with just my dog. Her and her aunt, uncle, cousins are currently at our neighbor's house for a BBQ. They don't know about what she did. I can't bear to go over there because I don't want to talk to or even look at Katie, much less pretend in front of a bunch of people that nothing happened. 90 of me wants to get a divorce, but despite her feelings, I was very happy with the life we were building. We had even been talking about being pregnant by this time next year. But no matter what I decide to do, I know I don't want to make that decision without getting more information about what I can do, what might end up happening if we proceed, and I definitely want to talk to a few lawyers to protect myself. We only have one joint account with less than 20k in it, and the only asset we share is our house. So that's it. I'm sorry for writing so much. If you have made it this far, thank you for reading, and I would really appreciate any and all insight, suggestions, or advice. I just feel completely destroyed, empty, and alone. Please help me. Edit. I'm absolutely stunned and overwhelmed by the level of support you all have shown me. I truly can't believe that all of would take the time to offer your advice, kindness, and wisdom to an absolute stranger. I'm doing my best to read every one of your replies, and from the bottom of my somewhat shattered heart, thank you. This has been an unbelievable light in the darkest time of my life.